This is Jackie, and I am talking with Galactic Empire. How are you doing tonight?
Pretty good, pretty good. How about you?
Pretty good, pretty good. I can't complain. Um, I did a bit of a deep dive into your band, and I've come up with some questions that I hope at least entertain you.
Yeah.
So, if you could perform live in universe, what venue or planet would you choose?
I mean, I'd have to kind of go with a basic answer. I feel like Coruscant probably has some killer venues,
And what is that?
Um, I don't know. I'd imagine like they have that like weird bubble opera going on in the one movie. I feel like that probably you know, that's got to be a killer place to like have a mosh pit, you know what I mean? Like, we get floating bubbles, we get like, Twi'leks dancing on stage with us, and then we'd probably put a drummer in a bubble or something like that. It would be a crazy mosh pit, I feel like.
I love it. I love it. We're going to add in another member.
Okay.
I love it.
Right up. What do we got here? Oh, we got KP.
All right. Just in time. Kevin, I'm going to ask you the same question now. If you could perform live in universe, what venue or planet would you choose and why?
I really hope you say the same thing I just said.
I'm going to laugh.
Please. Please.
I mean, I was just going to say the cantina.
No. Dang it.
I mean, what would you theoretically say?
I possibly said we'd do that bubble opera on Coruscant, and we'd like put like
oh yeah,
put our drummer in one of the bubbles or something like that.
Yeah,
that would work. I don't know.
There goes my version of the Newlywed Game. I'm so sorry. Well, I'll stick to what I know you both know a lot about. Recently released Harry Potter, your cover of Hedwig's Theme by John Williams. Mm-hmm. Why was this a track you chose to take
on? So we
movies is the easiest here.
Kind of confronted with basically the record label being like, so like they basically were like, I think you guys did all the Star Wars tunes. Like maybe there's a few we haven't covered yet. Like once in a while there will be like a new comment on one of our videos and it'll be like, oh, you guys need to do this theme. And it's like, oh yeah, we totally do. But like by and large, we've done them all. So like Battle of Hoth, battle scene number 53 from like minute 47. Like no one's going to know that banger besides us. And so we decided now, like, okay, let's like do some new movies that are outside of, Star Wars altogether. And so for a minute, it was like, let's just do John Williams. But like even John Williams, like if we did that, we'd probably run out of music pretty quickly. So like we're doing all sorts of things. I mean, some of the Star Wars music now isn't even being written by him. So it's like, we're just doing movie themes, basically. We're not doing anything like, we don't, I think that the idea is just to cover the big hits right now, So Harry Potter was high up on our list. Obviously, everybody knows Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And Cinemetal, say that one 5 times fast. Cinemetal comes out October 24th.
Yeah.
Which song on the album was the most challenging or took the most effort?
I mean, Harry Potter was kind of the hardest one in my opinion. Grant, he's the guy who like produces most of the music in the band. He kind of just gave me like a session and he was like, all right, get back to me in a month when you can play this. And like I kid you not, the one line that was in that, like I think it's like 2 minutes in, it was like 15 seconds long, so like nothing, right? But like it took me like a month to learn 15 seconds of music basically, and then the rest of the song was, it was pretty straightforward. It was like that one 15-second chunk just completely ate up all my effort for that song. So
a month for 15 seconds.
Yeah.
All right. That's quite that I think counts as a challenge for sure. How do you walk the line between parody and tribute and your own individual band self?
You want to start with that, KP?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it with the parody is obviously trying to add our own musical piece to it. Staying true to like even tempo changes in a lot of the original stuff is sometimes like I'll find that people will like comment like, "Oh, they're speeding up," and it's like, well, yeah, that was the original part. Literally goes 5 BPM faster.
Like we're so accurate to the music. People think that we're messing up. Like we've kind of come full circle with it. People are like, that's not how it goes, and then you can line it up perfectly to the music in the movie, and you're like, okay.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah, they got that one. They got that one on me. I think a lot of the stuff that Eric has worked on is like very distinctly Eric.
Yeah.
In like the best way. Which none of the tracks have been released. Halloween theme.
Halloween was like 60% me, maybe. That was Grant's first like project he gave me. He was like, all right, let me see what you can do. I got a little carried away with like the first 3 versions I sent him. And then like the 4th version, he was like, okay, I'm going to like massage the arrangement a little bit. So it's still Galactic Empire. And then that was the version that ended up getting released. Still mostly my arrangement, but they, kind of added their own flair to it a little bit. Then the 2 songs on the album that I wrote, are like, I guess, arranged. Those are just completely mine. I didn't let Grant really touch them at all. He helped me a bit with Godzilla, but like I would say, so I don't know where like you want to like put the credit for that, but Terminator was like my like brainchild, and like I think I'm very happy he gave me that opportunity to just like grab the steering wheel for that song basically and be like, all right, we're doing this here, we're doing this here, we're doing this here, and he was like, I love it. I'm like, okay, cool. Great.
But we did do a poll too, by the way, that was like, which one do you want to hear next? And it was like, I think it was Batman won 29%, and then Godzilla came in at 28%. And then we've released neither of them. And I'm like, all right, what was that? What did we do that for?
The point of that, yeah.
Was that an in-band poll, or did you ask your fans?
It was
like a poll on Instagram.
Yeah, and then we didn't respect the poll. Like we were just like,
it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I loved that. So you've clearly chosen some very classic films. Yeah. And you mentioned earlier that, your label kind of pushed you to go kind of outside your comfort zone. How much control over the films this time around did you have versus outside suggestions?
We basically gave them a list. We were like, we want to do these movies. And then they just sort of crossed certain ones off the list. Like, no one's heard of this movie. This movie theme sucks. This one, we doubt you're actually going to be able to do. I didn't say that. No, I'm sprucing it up a little bit. But the point I'm just saying is like,
you guys suck.
Yeah, well, you know how right are. They're fantastic, but like they like to kind of be short with you, I think maybe is the best way to put it. So we basically, we presented them a list, and then they approved a set of that list back to us, and then that was that basically. I was really happy that they allowed me to do my 2 songs. Like Terminator and Godzilla were like definitely lower on the list of these people have heard about. And I'm still surprised, like, come out of the show, and then there'll be like that one guy who recognized like the Godzilla theme song or the Terminator theme song, and they'll be like, "You played that song!" And I'm like, I thought more people watched these movies. I guess not. Like a bit more. I don't know, different era.
Was there a song on that list that someone else struck it, said nope, that you really wish could have been added?
Yes, but they're probably going to get released eventually. There's a few on my list that like I wanted to do that I have arrangements for that kind of just need to be worked into the pipeline. I think at this point now they're, we'll see how this album does. I think it'll be. I think it's some of the best music Galactic has made yet. So I'm excited for that. But from a purely like logistical standpoint, I feel like if people dig what we're doing now, I think the label will probably be like more open to the idea of more like, you know, esoteric films. I'm blanking on the word to use. Like, what's how do you say like a movie is like not watched a lot?
It's just not mainstream.
Not mainstream. Sure.
Yeah.
Like I just watched this one movie. It's about a house. It's like a Japanese horror movie from like the 70s. And it like had a really good theme song in it. And I think people who like bad movies will know that movie. It's like, I think it's called House. It's not as it's weird. It's a good.
Are you thinking of Camp?
Oh yeah. It's like campier than like you. It's the most campy movie I've ever seen in my life. So
amazing.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. We're supposed to be doing an interview. My bad.
No, it's fine.
We're talking about movies I watched.
Well, I mean, it has to. It all relates. On average, and if you clock it, I'm extra impressed. But from start to finish, about how long does it take to do a single song?
Do you want the answer like just in general or just
in
with
general? That's fair.
I mean, I'm sure KP can speak to his like experiences here about like other metal bands and stuff. Like sometimes it takes a while, but like sometimes it goes fast.
Yeah, it's really weird how it happens. It's a little bit easier having source material with this band. You know, when you're doing originals, it's like, all right, so let's begin.
What I found with
nothing
with Galactic, it's weird. Like I for some reason made like 4 or 5 rough drafts. Like I normally I make the one, send it in, and it's good. Sometimes doesn't work out and the song ends up being kind of terrible, but like by and large I can get away with 1 draft. With Galactic, I like felt the need to make like 4 or 5, and like every single time it was like, oh, this is a lot better than the last version. But it's the same thing with Grant. His writing style, it's like this album, some of the songs were like several years old. I think he wrote the bulk of this album during COVID, but he ended up redoing most of the stuff in this album anyways. And it was like there's this revision process in this band that like they like to work quick, and it still kind of felt like we were running in mud basically at a certain point.
The only thing they didn't fix was the 316 time signature pirates.
That whole session, so we were doing everything in Pro Tools, and like watching Grant work is kind of like watching a speed runner. Like, you know what that is in video games? Yeah, it's like that, but watching it with a music program. Like the guy like will just be like sitting here like, oh let me not sorry, I
close the interview.
but you know what I mean, like he'll be sitting
speed run this interview.
Yeah, and it's just like it still like took us ages. We like I recorded Terminator at my here and sent the stems in for him to use. We got there and he was like, you know what, let's actually do them again. And then we were doing that, and then we did it a 3rd time, and it was just like, my God. And Godzilla too. It was one of those where it's like, you know, I thought it was done, and then there was another version, and then there was another version, and then it was like 2 more versions, and then it got released or pressed for release, you know. So I don't know. I think a lot of us care about the end result so much in this band that it behooves us to have just one version.
It's time well spent.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's well spent, but I guess kind of stressful at the same time. Like, you want it to be done, and then it's just like, why is that there? And you're like, there's all these parts, and you're like, oh, that doesn't actually. How did that get there? You know, the mixes have to be perfect.
Something in these 40 layers is disharmonious. Let's figure out what.
Yeah, it's always a fun game to play.
That sounds like quite a process. That makes, I think that answers to the time-consuming nature. That's very fair.
I don't think any other band out there is recording like 40 guitars at once in the metal context. I think like you probably get that with like Jacob Collier, but like, you know, I think metal has a different, like we have to be a lot more compressed and loud in general. So, you know, it's a different animal.
Well, speaking of that, how do you approach translating an orchestral score, say that one 5 times fast, into something that feels authentically metal?
So I think with it's funny, like a lot of metal I feel like actually has a really easy crossover to classical music and vice versa. Like I really want to see people try to flip it the other way, right? Because I think it would work. You'd probably take like some Born of Osiris solos, for example, and easily turn that into like a piano concerto, for example. Or like yeah, easily. Oh, 100%. I mean, Opeth is definitely walking that line already where you have like, you got strings going on. So like the translation is pretty easy. John Williams, I think a lot of the tunes he wrote that we were doing, like Duel of the Fates, didn't have to do much to make it metal. For my two songs, Terminator doesn't really have a whole lot. So that was kind of like an interesting movie theme where it's kind of like their first attempt to use like synthesizers and MIDI, and it's like very obvious. Like you listen to that original theme song and you're like, wow, this passed as like a final draft for a movie. Like the software on that sounds terrible, but like that was me basically being like, all right, Grant, just trust me on this. I'm going to completely change everything underneath the melody. And so it's more like I think that to me was more of a contrafact, which is like a fancy way of saying it's like all I did was take the melody and then everything else was just like new. Or sorry,
new thing.
The contrafact is when you take the changes and then you do a different melody, I think. I don't know. I haven't studied my music theory in a long time now.
Wow. And you graduated from Berkeley.
Shut up. You didn't hear that.
And you didn't graduate from Berkeley. I don't know how you won it.
Ouch. Have you guys ever been tempted or asked to score any films or clips?
We did a music, or we did video games recently. I forget I'm forgetting. I think it was
Star Wars Hunters.
Yeah, that one. We did music for that. It's really cool.
We had Battlefront 2, like the Battlefront team, reach out to us.
Yeah.
And we were working with them, and then the line just went dead. This was back with the old lineup. But yeah, it was like, oh my God, we might be on the new Star Wars Battlefront game. And then they just vanished.
But I'm sure that if a sort of team out there wants us to make music for them, like we are 100% game for it. So it's find our contact info and we'll do it.
Have any creators or anyone over at Lucasfilm ever reached out to you, commented?
Yeah. We had a few at our show recently. It was kind of funny.
Yeah.
We were like, I was talking to all like the label reps, but apparently like there were a lot of Lucasfilm guys there too that were like guest listed. And then I think one of them came and shook my hand or something. I'm blanking on his name.
Yeah, one of the art directors.
Yeah, I said I wasn't going to forget his name, and then I might have, but I promise it'll come back to me right after this interview is over.
Yeah. He'll call me and he'll be like, "Oh my God, his name was John Jingleheimer Smith."
Something, yeah. But
his name was my name too.
Oh yeah, so many Johns in the universe, But
have there ever been any issues with like copyright or someone that's like, "Don't put this out"?
No. To knock on wood, but part of it is the IP for Star Wars is there you go. The Star Wars IP is like so broad now that we can basically make characters that exist in the universe that aren't actually any characters. Hence the costume change too. Like we are now like properly just our own characters in a way. But and then the thing with arrangements is that like as long as it's like different enough, you can kind of get away with putting out covers for the most part. I mean, we still like through our label and stuff pay the composers and so on and make sure that like they get a cut of it. So I mean, doing covers, you always end up not making as much streaming wise. But it's like we're doing our due diligence where we can. So yeah.
You mentioned before about like 40 layers of guitars. How challenging is it to translate what you do in the recording studio to the live show?
Yeah, that's
hard. Yeah.
Our front of house is always just like, okay. So what do I do with that frequency band there? That is 20 to 20,000 hertz. Like the whole, it's like,
Yeah.
right, well, because a lot of it is like mid-range stuff. In guitars kind of playing in similar octaves, with similar timbres because, and the spatial differences doesn't exist because it's not an orchestra. So there's not like a chorus effect or like any like, I don't know what you would even consider it. So it's like there is a difficulty with the caveat that it's a little bit easier to play larger chords on guitar with, staying kind of like in tune. You're definitely not doing that on a violin
Well,
or
we
a
kind of
cello.
do like from like an arranging standpoint, and like it's different for every song. But the idea is that like there's 5 players in the band. One is the drummer, so he's taken care of. There's only one drum.
Mhm.
We're not adding 2 or 3 drums into the mix. That would just make things like immediately impossible to deal with.
Yeah.
But then it's like, KP, he plays like the lowest notes. It's pretty easy. I end up just playing all the melodies for the most part. Like once in a while, I get a little line here and there. It's kind of fun to play. And then like basically from there, it's like a who's who of what plays. Like we like you kind of like figure out like, okay, this layer here is not that important, so we'll shove it into the backing track. Which then basically it's just coming through the PA while we're playing on top of it. And then like a lot of the time too, like those backing tracks like really don't have a whole lot in them. Sometimes they have a lot in them, but some of the songs it's like it's just us and we can get by with just a 5-person arrangement of the song sometimes. And it's pretty cool. Like a lot of these songs, when you do have those big layers, like I think it just kind of, it's fun to have it come through the backing tracks. Like I've seen on my camera, like I record some of the shows, like it sounds pretty cool, like having like the choir and stuff on Duel of the Fates come through the speakers and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Well, I saved the hardest question for last. If Darth Vader started a side project, what genre do you think it would be?
What did we say? Oh, I was on an interview with Cotter, our counter lead, or Darth Brooks, and we were talking about different genres of metal that like
why would you
use a character.
He's a bit bombastic, no? You don't think he'd like do like
some reggae, some reggaeton?
No. I'm thinking he would like force all of his like stormtroopers to like play like a Mahler symphony or something. Like he would probably like, I mean, like he'd be like, hey guys, find me that instrument from that planet and steal it from those people, because he's a villain,
Yeah.
I feel like that's
he's the bad guy.
Well, it's a matter of perspective, but like.
Well, then, what Star Wars character would be the best metal frontman?
Oh no! Yeah, now you're asking. I don't know.
I think. Did you say Star Wars villain or Star Wars character?
Any character. I'll give you some free reign.
I think Ahsoka would be a fantastic metal player.
Oh yeah,
there's always this like constant morality, like question, identity question, like I don't assign to this or that. It gives her
the Ewoks would put
listen. We played with we almost played with the Dwarves band.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, like
so.
Those
did we play with Windrose? Is it Windrose? I forget.
I think that if you look at it like from a distance, metal shows, like if you're not into it, like metal shows are really fun because like kind of just like a place where you don't have to be all snobby and stuff. It's not like a jazz show where you like go and then you pretend to know what they're playing,
but like stringing notes.
Yeah, or like you get all dressed up for classical or whatever, it's like metal. It's just like, all right, everybody's here. Like I took my dad to go see Meshuggah, and it was like he would be sitting. He was like this scientist, and he'd be sitting among like these scary looking biker dudes, and like the biker dudes would just be like, "Hey, you're one of us," you know. So like, I'm just thinking that culture has to exist with the Ewoks, you know.
I love that.
That's what I think.
The Ewok counterculture.
They probably put on some weird metal, but I would be down for it, you know.
Yeah, honestly.
There's nothing wrong with weird metal. In fact, Cinemetal comes out on October 24th. Not that it's weird,
that's right.
But there you go. Well, thank you.
It's weird.
Thank you so much, Galactic Empire. Stay tuned for much more. This is Jackie. Thanks to In the Key of Change and Chorus FM.